What's up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Adam Palmer. This is Daily Nonsense. We are wrapping up here at the National. There's going to be a ton of coverage, but I want to give you my perspective about the show and everything that surrounded this past week. It is the first show back from the National. It was a blast. I mean, it really, there almost aren't words to explain how much fun it was going out there, seeing everybody again for the first time in a couple years, doing live shows. I was on Hobby Hotline, meeting everybody at the Luddux booth. Shout out to everybody on that team. I mean, the VIP area was so phenomenal. It was nice meeting everybody that does all the other shows here on the Sports Card Nonsense Network. You know, I don't necessarily have a rundown like in order of every single day. I'm just going to give you kind of some of the quick hits and stuff that happened that I noticed throughout the show. So first we had that upstairs area where they had the new dealers. I thought was a really phenomenal setup. And I think it's one of the areas where if the National wanted to expand the show, that's where I would see it expanding. I think the trade nights too could also go up in there. I know that there was some issues on some of the nights where they were running out of wristbands and they weren't letting people into the show, unfortunately. I think if they were to increase the size of the room, I mean, I know they have, like some of the other trade nights, if you've been to Nationals in the past, have seemed like they're just in a conference room, which this was a conference room, but it was nice. It had chandeliers, VIP section, had a huge stage where they were doing interviews. The trade nights are where I actually did most of my buying as well. Like buying stuff for the show can be very intimidating because I don't know what it is. It's maybe just going up to the dealers when I know they're busy and trying to make deals. It's just really not for me. Going to the trade nights is where I was buying and selling from people in the industry. And maybe that's another reason why I liked buying from them specifically, was because I knew that I was funding probably what people were going to be spending here at the show or at the trade night. I mean, either or. I knew I was essentially buying cards from collectors and funding the rest of their trip. I thought that was really phenomenal. The National's going to be here in Chicago the next 2 years. And then in 2028, they announced that they're going to be in Detroit. I know there were some rumors, and I think I actually might have talked about this last week on either Thursday or Friday's show, that the 2028 show was going to be in Atlanta. I don't remember who I heard that from now that I'm thinking about it out loud. It might have been just I was on Hobby Hotline, and that's why I was thinking about it. But it's going to be in Detroit. So I've never been out there. I've had, you know, the weird thing that happens when you fly from Boston to Florida. Sometimes you stop in Detroit. So that's really the only time I've ever actually been to Detroit. The hotels themselves, I felt like might have been dropping the ball a little bit. The Lowe's Hotel, that was one where a lot of people did trade nights. I mean, I know in years past, they've had massive crowds at that hotel. So I don't know if maybe people were complaining of all the people that were in there. The Hyatt was doing it correct. They did it correct. They, you know, I guess maybe they are open late for dinner. Like I got out of the show after the trade nights around 11:30, headed over there, and the kitchen was open till 11:30. They had drinks flowing. They had people in the hotel lobby. That's probably the hotel I'd like to stay at the most. I mean, I love that. It's such a beautiful hotel. Also, like the inside has that crazy elevator that, like, if you go in there, you're gonna get motion sickness because of how fast it goes up and down. Kind of looks like an ant farm. Is that what it's called? I think it's an ant farm, the way that it's set up where everything is in the middle and then you see the outside. But yeah, some of the hotels in the area, I think they were just dropping the ball. I think that there is such a good opportunity for them to make money. And this could be maybe the thing. Maybe they don't care to make the money. Maybe it's not worth the extra time that they have to spend cleaning or, you know, just being on top of the ball. But the Hyatt every single night, and it could have even been it was busy in the Hyatt every single night because the other hotels in the area we were trying to go to the YouTube. There was a YouTube meetup. And I showed up a little bit after the show was over. It was like 6:30 probably. And as soon as I showed up, the hotel staff came in and said, "Hey guys, everyone's got to go. They kicked everybody out," which there wasn't a reservation for the space. And it was one of the hotels, I believe the Embassy, where, again, it was in the middle and all the rooms were on the outside. But they unfortunately kicked everybody out. And so a lot of people moved over. I just ended up going back to the show and setting up some stuff for trade night. I was doing content basically all throughout the week. That was, when people came up to me and asked me what I was buying, it was, if I'm going to be honest, it was mainly, I wasn't really buying anything. I was just making content. I did buy some stuff at trade night, and probably in the last couple of days of the show, I'm going to buy some stuff. But overall, for me, it was the content. If you are trying to do deals at the show, you could do deals 24/7. I think it's really one of the crazy things about the National and just everything about this industry as a whole. The amount of cards and the amount of money that's in the industry it's really hard to grasp. It's really, I think it's really hard to wrap your head around, like even just at some of the regular trade nights. Like some of the trade nights, you look at some people that had $30,000 worth of cards on their table. You had people that had one card that was worth $30,000. That I think it was the Friday trade night that was sponsored by Sports Card Nonsense. There were people that had like Jackie Robinson and Nolan Ryan and vintage cards that had $30,000 tags on them. So it is really kind of mind-boggling how much money and how many cards there are at this show. And I spoke about this earlier in the week. I'll kind of reiterate. The corporate boost, people like the corporate boost, but really the people are here for they're here for the cards. I don't know if that, I don't think the corporate people would ever give up their booths. I really doubt that. But just looking back at the show in general, the places that were the most busy during the show were the booths with the cards, the corporate booths where you had some of the museum stuff, or you had some crazy cards, or they're doing giveaways. If they had announcements or they're doing giveaways, that's when they were busy. But for the most part, everybody was really there for the cards. And I think that's not super surprising, but I think that's ultimately one of the things you're going to see at any card show. Whether it's the Dallas Card Show, or it's Culture Collision in Atlanta, or it's the National the next 2 years, you're going to see people are just excited for the cards. They don't necessarily care as much for the corporate booths. I think that's sort of the scenario there. Two kind of other pieces here. Some stuff that I noticed was people were talking about they didn't have fun at the show, or they didn't like the show, or they didn't want to go. I don't know. To me, it's just like, if you didn't have fun at the show, that's on you. Like, there's literally so much to do here. And I get the sentiment around some of the things that people complain about. But it's just like, I don't know. At some point, the people that are complaining are just complaining to complain. And I know I just said that word a bunch, but like the people who complain on any of the social platforms, they're just going to complain about anything. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. Like, some people's personalities are complaining. And unfortunately, it's, for some people's businesses are complaining. So it's just, ultimately, that's what I found. The last point here, and I don't think the National will ever do this, but like a 24-hour card show, I actually think would be a phenomenal idea. Or, a card show that goes until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or something where people are going late night. Because if you look all around the show at the National, people are buying and selling 24/7. There's people making deals at 2 o'clock in the morning in the Hyatt hotel lobby. So I don't know if there's an opportunity there for a card show to step in and just be like, hey, we're doing a 24-hour show. The National maybe is unique in that way, where there are so many people that want to buy and sell while they are here, that maybe that is why people are buying and selling at 2 o'clock in the morning at the Hyatt. Maybe if a company were to do a card show that was 24/7, maybe people wouldn't want to buy or sell, because it's just maybe it's just the atmosphere. Maybe it's the allure, the aura of the National. Maybe that could be the case. But overall, it was just so much fun, and it was so great meeting everybody. And there were so many more people that I probably didn't meet. And if we ran into each other, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It was it's my favorite part of the show is meeting everybody and seeing everyone for the first time in 2 years since I was here at the last card show or the last national. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody talking to me and spending the time. I'm glad I was out there shilling my show the whole time I was out there. So I really appreciate everybody. And if you are here on the YouTube channel, make sure you keep tuning in because like I said, Daily Nonsense is the newest daily show here on Sports Card Nonsense. And it was so phenomenal to hear everyone say that they've either seen the show or to see some of the viewership numbers go up while I was at the show as well.